I'm Jackie K. Cooper, and I'm here today with Leighton Cooley, who is the star of the film Farmland. And this is a documentary that's playing around the country right now, and we're so proud of you being in it.
Well, I'm very excited and proud to be in it as well.
Let me ask you right off, Leighton, how did you get connected with movie makers here in, this is Knoxville?
We're in Knoxville, Roberta, Georgia.
Knoxville, Roberta, Crawford County.
There you go.
Yeah. How did you get hooked up with movie makers?
I'm not completely certain of that my own self, but basically a group, Allentown Productions, was hired to put together a documentary on American agriculture, basically through the eyes of 6 young farmers from around the country. And I guess...
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. Was there an age restriction? Do you know?
Basically, in his thought was young farmers in their 20s.
Okay.
So I was 29 at the time, just did make the cut.
Yeah.
So basically, young farmers in their 20s who were maybe in position to basically start taking over the family farm, or that were in leadership roles or responsibilities on their family farm. And I guess James basically narrowed it down to he wanted
James Moll,
director of Farmland.
Yeah.
Basically wanted a poultry farmer. Poultry is a huge industry in the United States. That's right. We're the main thing that we do are chickens, broilers. I guess we grow under contract with Purdue Farms, and so I guess when he narrowed it down to that, where better to find a poultry farmer than the great state of Georgia, I suppose.
Amen.
And so I think he reached out to a few groups to try to get some names. I think my name surfaced from U.S. Poultry and Egg Association, and after a few phone interviews and contacts and a couple of, I call them selfie videos, where we actually just sent them a little video, a few 30-second videos of what we do and who we are, and bring in the kids, our family. And we sent that to Allentown, and through a process of elimination, I suppose, we were able to surface and become one of the cast members.
But having seen the film, it amazes me because all 6 of y'all, 5 men, 1 woman,
correct,
are just completely at ease in front of the camera. And I mean, and I've been around people who you put a camera on them, they freeze up.
Sure.
But all of y'all just seemed like, no, we're just fine. And none of you are professional actors that I know of.
Not at all. Nothing against the other 5, but no, we're farmers. That's what I tell everybody. We're farmers, and I think the biggest thing was that from the very beginning, when Allentown first contacted us, they stated then that their major purpose, or their main focus, was to actually capture what we do on the farm.
And they did that.
And they did. When James showed up the first day, he and all of his crew got out at the farm. They came up with 2 vans, started getting out and kind of introducing who they were, and starting working on equipment. Didn't waste any time. James said, when we first talked, kind of my question to James was, well, what do you want to see? What do you have in mind? And he said, we're here at your farm. You show me. You tell me what you want or what you're about to do. And basically that's how it was from the very beginning.
Because there's no script.
No script whatsoever. No, it's a documentary. He wanted to capture what we do on the farm, and that's the way it was. He said from the start, he said, whatever you're about to do, we want to see it. And so it was really cool. And of course, anytime there's a camera around, you're thinking about it. But after, I think I speak for everyone else. Once we got to working and just doing what we do, they were really, they were just kind of
there.
Yeah, they were there, but we were doing our work.
How long did they stay here with you, though? Because I know you've probably got 40 minutes of air in the movie, maybe a little bit more. But how long did it take to get that and cull it down to your portion?
Oh goodness, as far as total, I guess filming of us here on the farm, they came out 3 different times. Twice they spent 2 days with us, and once they came out for 1 day. So they spent 5 days total with us, but it was from morning till evening. And we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of ground with it, and they got a lot of footage. Some of the different places, now they were, more days than so, but it was a total of about 600 hours of footage that they captured for all 6 different farms.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie, in this show, I know nothing about farming, nothing, but it's when you're bringing the chicks in, and you've got them in big stacked carts, and you just kind of tip the cart and
Tip them out.
it looks like the biggest Easter morning, because they all look like Easter chickens.
That's funny, they do.
You know,
They do.
and it's just like a process. It's just rolling the chicks out.
That's right.
And how many chickens do you have in a crop of chickens?
That's a good way to put it. That was a great scene from the movie.
I love that
It's
scene.
a good scene, and it showed, that it always, there's different scenes where there's or not different scenes, but chick placement is a big time. That's of course the beginning of a flock, and it was a neat scene when all of our family was there and working.
Yes.
My son was dumping, nephew and all had the chicken in his hand, but basically
They just slid out.
They just slide out. We have them in crates on it. We bring them in on a trailer, and you basically, just like in the film, you just pour them out. But we'll finish that house with about 25,000 birds inside of that
Wow.
house. And those birds, they're hatched that day. They're less than 24 hours old, and they come straight out of the hatchery onto the truck, into our farms, into the houses.
The hatchery isn't part of your.
It is not. It's not.
You get those from another source.
That's all with Purdue.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, and again, I know James Maul, when he saw that scene, just thought, man, this is great movie making, right here.
It was a good scene, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's
But you do
something
other
I've been
things.
around for a long time.
You do other things here at your place. You
We
got
do.
chickens, you got cattle, you got hay. So you're a man of many hats.
Well, sure, yeah. Many hats on the farm as well as off the farm. But as far as on the farm, we have chickens, main thing. We have 18 broiler houses. But then we also raise cattle. We have a herd of right at 100 head of beef cattle, Angus base, cross commercial, that we actually raise for us cow-calf production. And then we bale hay. We bale hay for our own cattle and horses, and then we also bale some hay that we sell about half of our hay.
Now, part of the theme of the movie is, so many young people are leaving the family farm, etc. What made you're fourth generation, what made you decide to stick with it?
Gosh, I don't know what made me. When I left high school, growing up, I loved farming. We worked on the farm. I mean, from the time I could go to work with Daddy, that's what I wanted to do. And
So it wasn't any of this, oh my gosh, I got to work on
well,
the
there
farm.
were probably times. I was a kid. I was a kid that loved doing other things as well. Loved sports. Daddy was always good about. He made sure that we could play sports, do all that stuff, and I always told people too. We played as hard as we worked. We had a good time growing up. I mean, we always had a lot of fun. Now, not everything was always, good, but Mom and Daddy. Not everything was always roses. Not always good.
Okay.
It was always good. Not everything was always roses.
I got you.
But we had a good time growing up, my two sisters and I. And we played just as hard as we worked, but we worked really hard. And that was when I left high school. Chicken business wasn't doing that great in our area, and I went to college to play football, and I really enjoyed sports, and I wanted to teach and coach. My older sister had just graduated from college with a degree in education, and just kind of leaving high school, I wanted to teach and coach. But the more I was at college, the more I really just wanted to get back to the farm. And I just wanted to come back and farm. I enjoyed it so much.
Now, did you major in agriculture?
I majored in business education. I always wanted
Which is partly the smart thing to do.
It was a good balance. I always wanted an ag degree,
Mhm.
but the school that I went to,
Where'd you go?
Valdosta State University.
Oh, yeah. Good
And
school.
loved it. Great school, great choice. Had some really good times playing football. School. We had a great football team my senior year, but they didn't with ABAC being right up the road, no ag classes at Valdosta State, and so I just kind of settled into a business education. I stayed on the education major and tried to find one that maybe could help later on in years after teaching and on the farm. And so I majored in business education, came back and taught school for a year. I actually taught in our ag shop. We had an opening. I was able to get certified in teaching ag in the high school. I loved kids, really enjoyed the kids. I didn't like being inside. I just wanted to be outside and farm. And so after a year, I retired from teaching. And
1 year career is
moved
over.
on to full-time farming and have really enjoyed it since. Daddy and I have been farming full-time together since 2006 and really, really enjoy it.
Now, your wife Brenda is from this area too.
She is.
She is. Now, had she grown up on a farm, or?
She didn't grow up on a farm, but fortunately for me, she grew up working hard. Her dad.
Okay.
Her dad always they were hard workers growing up as well. He's always been in he's got a machine shop. Always been around engines and working on heavy equipment, but then just working in the backyard, having a garden. She grew up around a garden, and fortunately for me, she's still a hard worker. And so she grew up a country girl, is what I say. Not a farm girl, but a country girl. So it's easy to transition that into a farm girl.
Another thing they talk about in the movie, and I don't think it's in your segment, but I think Margaret, the one female in the cast, talks about she uses old equipment because she can repair old equipment.
Sure.
And then somebody else says, well, I have to spend an hour getting all the computers and everything. Do you deal with computerized equipment and all that?
We do.
Is that difficult?
Well, no, not really.
I guess you've got a knack for it.
Well, sure. I mean, it's like everything else. The first time I tried to use my smartphone, I got a little confused and a little aggravated. Wanted to throw it a few times, but it's like anything else with technology. You transition into it, and where would we be without it? And we've really enjoyed it and embraced it on our farm with the chicken houses. It's everything. Technology has just moved and improved so much stuff. But we use a lot of technology in our chicken houses. On our farm, like with spreading our manure, a couple scenes from the movie.
Yeah,
we
you talked about that in the movie.
We use GPS guidance with that, and then of course my smartphone. Can't leave home without that.
Absolutely.
But it just depends on the farm. Margaret's more of a smaller farm, the community supported farm, and whatever fits each farm really. You got all kind of different levels of technology usage.
With your three hats, cattle, chickens, hay, I take it that it's a 365-day-a-year job.
Well, sure, that's right. Growing up, Daddy used to say that. People would say, "Oh, that's a 7-day-a-week job," and they say, "Well, it's not really a 7-day-a-week job. We can kind of we move our work around, and we do. We move it around a little bit. And Saturdays, we try to get most of our work done Monday through Friday. We've always got something to do on Saturday, and you always have to at least check birds on Sunday. We can push some of our workload down, but I never really understood that until I actually had a job that was not a 7-day-a-week job, when you get there, when you leave on Friday afternoon, you don't have to think about it again until Monday morning.
Brutal.
And with the farm, somebody has to always be responsible for those birds, whether it be me or Daddy or some of the guys that work with us. Somebody's always responsible. So we are tied to the farm 7 days a week. And that's, it's good and bad, I guess.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. We're about out of time, but the movie to me is inspirational. It's inspirational about that people are willing to do the jobs that you and the 5 others do, and it's almost patriotic in a sense because you're keeping us all fed and that type thing too.
Sure.
What was the main goal that you had of what you wanted to get across? Was there any particular thing that you wanted people to remember from the movie?
Maybe not. I guess the main thing is sharing our story. What we do and how we do it, and sharing that just with the everyday consumer, the mom or dad that goes to the grocery store and buys steak or chicken or whatever it is they're buying. We collectively would love for them to put a face with that. I don't grow every chicken that's sold in the supermarket, but
I'll never buy another
face.
chicken without thinking of you.
But I have a face, that could do that. And what we love for people to see is that we're a family farm. Mom and Daddy started our farm. They worked hard to start it from scratch, and we love and appreciate so much where it's at now, and we love to see that how much Brenda and I enjoy, and our sons love working on the farm. But then my 2 sisters that basically they're not actually tied to our farm as far as working there full time, but they love to be a part of it. My nephew has a few cows on our farm, and my brother-in-law's in agriculture, and we just love the way that we are collectively a family farm, and there's times that we all just jump in together and get things done.
Well, I'm telling you, the movie, and you particularly out is projects such a positive image.
Thank you.
And like I said, I'll never buy another chicken without thinking about you. But I urge people to go see this movie. I think just from an entertainment standpoint, it's so good, and it's got a message in there also.
Sure.
But it's Farmland. It's playing at select theaters around the country. You have to, really track it down. or go to the local theater and say, hey, I've heard about this movie, Farmland.
Sure.
You need to get it over here and show it.
Yeah.
But Leighton Cooley, thank you so much for being here today and doing this interview.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
All right.